My husband and I have 2 young children, under 5. He's had a significant issue with gambling and the casino in the past. He's been doing a lot better with this since we implemented a rule, his suggestion that if we both can't go, neither of us will go. We've gone maybe 3 or 4 times in the past 3 years. Last night he was supposed to be going to the gas station and then the store so I could make his lunch for work the next day. We live about 5 minutes from these places. It should have taken him 20 minutes tops. Around 40 minutes after he left, I tried calling him and he didn't answer. I looked on Find Me and saw him heading towards the casino. The only money he had in cash was the money he was supposed to transfer between banks to pay his loan payment. I immediately tried calling him again, twice. He didn't answer, which is typical of him when he sneaks off to the casino. I texted him and told him we didn't have the money for this. We only had the loan money and money for the week. He didn't answer. I tried calling again and he didn't answer again. At this point, I was mad. I told him, "You're a damn idiot. If you spend that money, you will not make your loan payment." I texted him again and told him he's broken my trust and violated the rule he suggested. I told him if he didn't turn around, the kids and I would not be here when he got home. He never answered me, so I packed up the kids and went to my cousin's. He tried calling me once at 3 a.m., which I assume is when he got home. He had to be at work at 2 p.m. He tried calling me on break at 6, and I didn't answer, just sent him a picture of the kids and said we're fine and I don't feel like speaking to you. My dad and mom have both told me I was wrong to call him names and wrong to take the kids in the middle of the night, 10 p.m. I said I call it as I see it. Only an idiot would go spend money for a bill at the casino and just screw off the face of the earth while doing so. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Plays stupid games and wins stupid prizes. He's so fond of gambling he bet on you not following through, and he lost. Good for you for calling it like it is. With his addiction, he is destroying your family. You're under no obligation to participate. Your family's current lack of support is shameful. Honey, listen, this damn idiot will mess up your entire financial future if permitted to run around without consequence. Go back to pack up, separate your funds and stay gone until he admits that his gambling and actions are a problem. He voluntarily commits to and regularly attends therapy and turns over control of the family finances to you. It's not my place to tell you what to do with your marriage, but your husband needs help beyond what you can give him. I have a gambling addiction in my family. My mother was like your husband, destroyed our family. My father died early after working years of 18-hour days trying to pay the debts. She kept going and bankrupted what was left. It absolutely destroys families. We had owned our own business. My mother died almost destitute. Mini update. He got off work about an hour ago, called me and asked if I was coming home yet. I said I don't know, I'm not ready to talk to you level-headedly and I'm still very mad. He then told me, stay gone until you figure your crap out then, if you want to leave, stay gone. I tried to tell him he doesn't get to speak to me like that when he's the one who screwed up, but he hung up on me. He also unplugged all the security cameras in the house. See, for me, this would be a clear signal to stay gone as he's advised you to. You don't need him if he acts like this, putting your children and you second to gambling. Stay with someone trustworthy and think if it's really better to be with him and his gambling or without him. Unless he seriously tries to quit and goes to a support group, then I wouldn't bother. Right? The audacity to break the rules you set up for yourself and then tell your partner to stay gone like they're the one screwing up. I hope OP responds by sending divorce papers. Whatever you decide to do, you need to protect yourself and your little ones because you cannot allow yourself to be ruined by his problem as well. Sending lots of love to you. So I, 28 male, have been with my girlfriend, 27, for about 13 months now. We just moved into an apartment together. We live on the West Coast US and my parents are on the East Coast. They're coming to stay with us for the weekend in about 3 weeks here. We're getting the place settled and tidy and prepping for them to come. This will be their first meeting. My girlfriend does this thing every night where when she serves dinner, she tells some little pun or knock-knock joke and then says, "Dinner and a joke," and then we eat. She does it for every meal she makes, even the meals I make. She'll say, "Okay, do your dinner and a joke." It's something her late dad did and she really enjoys it. To be quite frank, I'm a little tired of it, but I know it makes her happy and it's important to her, so I smile and play along, and I never say anything about it getting old. I asked her if we could pause dinner and a joke when my parents visit. My mom isn't particularly humorous, PhD chemist and medical doctor, and my dad also takes himself extremely seriously, surgeon. Very, very, very serious people. Not that all medical doctors are overly serious, but my parents are. They're very critical people in general. I don't think they're going to enjoy it. I think it will annoy them. I asked her to stop just for the weekend and we could go back to it. She got extremely upset and said that I was being a total idiot and stayed with her mom for an entire 2 days about the whole thing. Am I the idiot here? You are the idiot. If your parents are so uptight that a mild joke before dinner is going to annoy them, then the problem is your miserable, unpleasant parents, not your girlfriend. You've already identified that they'll never accept your partner no matter how hard you try. The question is, are you going to accept your partner or be a good little boy and do as mommy and daddy dictate? Yes, that's meant to be as condescending and emasculating as it sounds because, at the end of the day, that's the core question. Good luck finding your answer. I disagree with the consensus, not the idiot. I don't think you're the idiot for wanting your parents to like your girlfriend. Some people don't know what it's like to grow up with strict parents. If they don't like something, then that thing never ever gets to happen again. The disapproval from serious and strict parents is crushing, and it cuts deep even as an adult. Adapting something or someone you love to them is a form of protection, so they approve of the person you love and don't have to feel like you've disappointed them every time they're around. I'm with you on this. It's not like he asked her to change her looks or her personality or anything else. Just don't tell a joke for one night. It's pretty strange that she can't do this little thing for him, in my opinion. What OP's delivery was missing was vulnerability. It's better to say, my parents make me anxious and I need you to do this because you care about me. In these situations, everyone wants their parents not to be annoyed by their SO. Last Thursday, I, 36 male, got a call from my son's school telling me I needed to come and collect him because he'd passed out during class. My son has passed out a good few times before, so we've made sure he knows what to do when he starts to feel faint to ensure he doesn't hurt himself. However, when I arrived at the school, my son was holding an ice pack to his head. When I asked about it, the nurse told me he'd hit his head when he fell. I wondered why he hadn't lain down as we taught him to. I brushed it off and decided to ask him about it later, as he was still kind of out of it. The next day I asked him about it, and what he told me made my blood boil. Apparently, when my son first started to feel like he was going to pass out, he tried to tell his teacher. When he stood up to talk to her, he was immediately yelled at to sit back down. The next time he tried to tell her, she told him that he didn't look sick, so he wasn't allowed to go to the nurse's office. Then, his class was doing an activity that required standing for practically the rest of the lesson. Before the activity started, my son, yet again, told this teacher that he felt like he was going to pass out and asked if he could sit the activity out. The teacher responded by yelling at him, claiming he was just being lazy and was making excuses. My son's friend was getting worried about him, so he told the teacher, who then started yelling at his friend, accusing them both of trying to get out of the lesson. Not even a minute later, my son passed out. According to his friend and a couple other classmates, she acted shocked, as if she hadn't ignored him trying to tell her how he felt for the last 5 minutes. I'm extremely worried about the impact this will have on my son, as when the fainting first started, he didn't tell any of his teachers, as he was scared that they would yell at him. This resulted in quite a few injuries from falling. It's taken a while for him to start telling them when he's feeling faint, and I'm afraid this incident will cause him to stop asking and he'll hurt himself. I wanted to go to school that day, but my son had stayed off and my wife wasn't home from work yet. The following Monday, I arranged an appointment with the principal. After I explained what had happened, he called in my son's teacher, who tried to deny that he ever told her anything and that he just randomly collapsed. This is where I may be the idiot. By this point, I was angry. I began screaming at her about how my son could have gotten hurt. I was so angry that I hadn't even noticed that she'd started to cry. By that point, I was asked to leave by the principal. My wife and some of my friends think I'm in the right, but my parents and the other half of my friends think I went too far. I don't know about this one. What do you guys think? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The teacher repeatedly yelled at your son, scolded him, caused him to injure himself physically and quite possibly scared him away from communicating his needs in the future. She's a bully. When confronted, she started lying to cover up her behavior and eventually crying. Boo-hoo. That's what bullies do. Bully, lie, then cry when not let off the hook. Your losing your cool is completely understandable. Your parents don't need to have an opinion about it and your wife is in your corner. Consult a lawyer. I bet the principal won't ask a lawyer to leave. She likes yelling at kids but can't handle being yelled at, seems hypocritical. Sometimes manipulative people cry to get out of situations when they're at fault. It would have been different if she hadn't lied about the situation and apologized, but good for you for standing up for your child. Teachers have been using "you don't look sick" line for years. Drove me crazy as a kid, and it drives me crazy now as a 33-year-old. What is sick supposed to look like? I think she needed that dose of reality for her negligence and dishonesty. She literally endangered your child's life because he didn't look sick. I don't remember those school floors being very soft. If he hits his head the right way, it can cause lifelong complications. With that in mind, having your son looked over might not hurt, even if he says he feels fine. He was just taught not to talk about feeling unwell, so he might try to hide it if he's not feeling 100%. Well, your kid is your world. Obviously, the teacher is not going to come clean. However, you may need to have your son's side confirmed by a classmate, as sadly, you're only getting it from your son's perspective. For your information, not calling your son a liar, I'm simply saying there are two sides to every story. My sister-in-law, 43, and her kid, tween female, moved in with us, my husband, myself, and our 3 kids 2 months ago. She's going through a divorce. He took everything. The kids were not his and a prenup was signed. We told her to just worry about her own food, as I didn't like the idea of eating together due to their history with food. I don't know how to put it nicely, so I guess I'll go blunt. She and her kid never stop eating. They both have severe health issues, as both of them combined are over 600 pounds and live a very fat-positive life. Now, it's none of my business, but when it comes to the kid, it's screwed up. I don't care what anyone says. When a tween is pushing 220 pounds and has a doctor breathing down your neck, it's time for a change versus pushing body positivity. The kid is a great girl, but just by herself she could easily eat enough to feed 4 grown men who haven't eaten all day. So that was my stipulation. They buy their own food and cook everything separately. I even cleaned out our entire pantry to give them their own food space. Well, my kids and I needed a break and took off for a week to a resort. My husband didn't want to go. He didn't want to leave them in our home unattended, but encouraged us to get out of there because we were pretty fed up with the company. I just spent almost $400 on food before leaving, so our freezer and cupboards were full. This would feed us, me, my husband and kids, for easily 2 weeks. Well, I got home last night and all of the food is gone. Every single bit of it. I know for a fact it wasn't my husband. He works 14 to 16-hour days and usually buys takeout on his way home when I'm not there, so he can just go to sleep when he gets back. I look in my sister-in-law's pantry and all her food is gone too, which was full when I left. I immediately questioned it and my sister-in-law apologized and said she and her kid got hungry and her legs hurt too much to drive to the store. I said, "Why the heck didn't you just get grocery delivery?" And she said, "I didn't think you would mind." So I snapped and said, "Obviously I mind. You and your kid just ate well over $800 worth of food in a damn week. $400 of it being mine, which you will reimburse me for. Maybe stop eating so damn much." And I walked off. Now she's angry with me and crying wolf to anyone who will listen for me fat-shaming her and her kid. Not the idiot. Your sister-in-law is abusing her child. Yes, she has a problem, but she's also responsible for herself and her child, so she needs to start doing something and stop eating so damn much. That would be a good option. Being morbidly obese is no joke, and you wouldn't react well if someone took $400 out of your purse, which is kind of what has happened here. Eat less is good advice. It's not your fault if she can't handle it. I agree wholeheartedly. It's dangerous for a child to be that size. The sister-in-law and her child should get counselling to see why they overeat. It could be a plethora of reasons why. I'd be upset too. She stole $400 from you, plain and simple. And yeah, $400 would be a monthly budget per person, not weekly. Groceries are so expensive. But how did your husband, her brother, not notice they cleaned out your cabinets, fridge and freezer for an entire week? He didn't see the containers in the trash when he threw out his takeout containers. He never went into the fridge to get a beverage once during the week. I'm sure he did, and he just waited for his wife to get back so she could deal with it. If her legs hurt so bad from eating so much that she can't get more food, there's her sign. She needed to hear that. She's a grown woman. She should have at least been able to replace it or apologize and offer to reimburse you when you got back. That's not fat shaming. That's calling her out for stealing. My son, nearly adult, is a head coach at a large martial arts gym. He's been in martial arts since he was 5, is a black belt in 2 disciplines, and has won numerous competitions if you're wondering how he's a head coach at his age. The gym is large and has always been primarily male, usually 1 to 3 female students, but currently it's all male. However, an all-female boxing gym closed near my son's gym, and they've started to get a flow of women and girls looking to join. They've been turned away. Once I heard about all these women and girls being turned away, I asked my son why the instructor, the owner, was doing that. My son said it was himself turning away women and girls because many of the male students were concerned about awkward or inappropriate physical behaviors and incidents. Yet that day, my son helped welcome 4 gay and queer young men. I called the gym owner and he said he was unaware of what my son was doing, but he trusted my son's judgment because he was at the gym more than he was. He then said they wouldn't lose money by being a male-only martial arts gym. I told my son he was being misogynistic. He disagreed and said I just don't understand. I made him quit yesterday. I've since gotten the silent treatment from my son and 8 phone calls from the owner and other gym staff. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. That mentality has made women second-class citizens since the dawn of time. It's not a 15th century ship. He has the full support of the boss because he is equally misogynistic. Your son needs to learn from you. Don't tell me mixed clubs are riddled with inappropriate body drama. Come on, sure, teenagers will always be teenagers, but most people go there to work out, not spray their hormones all around. People. No matter their shape, size or gender. People. Unfortunately, people like your son continue to exist. Try to shape him into a better human being. I can see you have your head on straight. Everyone's the idiot here. There are 2 separate problems here. Is your son an idiot for being misogynistic? Yes. Did you just force someone to quit an adult job they've obviously spent a lot of their young life training towards? Yes. There's a reason we normally don't allow kids adult jobs, because adults have their own beliefs and opinions, and they can be terrible opinions. That's one of the privileges of being an adult. An adult is allowed to do things as they see fit. So obviously, you're punishing your kid for his beliefs. But what exactly do you think he's going to learn in a year? You've already had many years and haven't taught him values you approve of. Next year he'll go back to his job and go back to teaching in the same way. The whole thing seems like a petty power play on your part. I don't like what you're doing, so you can't do that for a year. Great parenting.